Coming up in this episode, Timothy B. Brown joins us to tell us about a very unique exercise that a very famous coach taught his players to prepare for a game. Tim's up in a moment to tell us all about it.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history, and welcome to another edition where we get to talk to our friend Timothy P. Brown of FootballArchaeology.com. Tim, welcome back to the Pig Pen.
Hey, Darren. Good to chat, and I think we've got a couple of things to talk about this evening.
I think we do. You have a very interesting series that you have that comes up every now and again in your tidbits, and you call it the Factoid Feast. And that really is an interesting concept. Maybe you could explain a little bit about what your Factoid Feasts are before we get into some of the stories.
You know, when I'm researching whatever the topic of the day is, oftentimes I stumble across some other article, or, whether it's the adjoining article or within the article that I'm reading, something comes up that's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And so, I have a way of saving all that kind of information. It's just little things that I store, some of which then later on turn into a tidbit or an article. But others are just like, yeah, it's just this one little thing, that it's worth letting people know that this happened, but it doesn't, it doesn't warrant a full story. So I just kind of combined three of those into these factoid feasts. It's just dinky little things that came up. I thought they were kind of interesting, and so I thought I'd share them.
All right, you have another interesting story in this factoid, a couple other ones, but why don't you tell us about the next one you have on that one?
Yeah, so this one, I forget what I called it, but it was basically about Pop Warner when he was coaching at Carlisle, and this is during the 1913 season. So Jim Thorpe had graduated, so this first season without Thorpe. And Warner is kind of an interesting guy. Sometimes I don't know what to make of him. I've read a lot of stuff about him, but this was his second tour of duty at Carlisle. And there are times when kind of the whole structure of these Indian schools was kind of all about getting these Indians to act like Americans. That's fundamentally, it was like trying to get them to act like good old-fashioned Anglo-Saxon Americans, right? And so, so they brought them into these brought them off the reservation, these central schools. And they actually thought football was a way to kind of, inculcate American values and virtues in these young men. And, and kind of everything you read about Carlisle Indians was these are some smart guys. They're all in good shape. They weren't the biggest guys, but typically, they just outlast you. They were in better shape. They were quick, they were clever, right? They were always called clever. So anyways, so sometimes Warner, I don't know, he kind of sometimes seemed like he played into some stereotypes, but he was there I think he coached him for 8-9 years. So he had to love the guys, right? I mean, he had to value them. So anyways, they're getting ready to go play Dartmouth. And I think Dartmouth was undefeated, and Carlisle, I think, was like 7-1-1 or something. So at the time, these are two top Eastern teams that are getting ready to meet on a Saturday. And so, whether he sensed that these guys were maybe a little bit tight or something, it's just the story that he, at the end of practice, rather than putting them through the traditional conditioning drill, he had them play leapfrog for 15 minutes. And it's just one of those things like, and presumably these guys either hadn't, encountered leapfrog before, or maybe they had, but they had a blast, so it kind of lightened the mood. It just, it kind of reinforced for them that, they were ready. They didn't have to do anything special. Now let's just have a good time and, leapfrog over one another's bodies and get ready to play Dartmouth.
It's
And,
probably pretty good conditioning exercise. You sit there and think about
yeah,
today, they have like box jumps and everything. So you're exercising those muscles in your upper leg to jump high, and it probably had some of the
yeah,
similar effects.
yeah, I don't doubt it, because Warner knew what he was doing on that stuff. But,
Was
so
there
yeah,
any
they meet on,
indications that they were jumping over Dartmouth players as they were playing
uh,
them?
well, they may have because they won 35-10. So, so, so whatever Warner did, it worked. And so, now doing leapfrog never really turned into a traditional football exercise, but hey, maybe there's some coach out there that's listening, and we'll
Maybe,
see.
maybe TCU would be appropriate to put that in there, being the
That's
Horn
right.
Frogs,
Yeah,
maybe.
those horned frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, send that mail it into them. Do it the old fashioned way, no emails or anything. Just send them a postcard or a nice little handwritten letter, and there you go.
Signed Pop Warner.
Yeah.
That's really snail mail. It took 100 years to get there.
And postmark it from Carlisle.
Okay, I can do that. It's not too far away. You know who's going to love this? We got to talk to a gentleman a few weeks ago. He's a Native American, and he has a website on Native American sports heroes. So we talked a lot about football sports heroes, talked about the Carlisle team and everything. He'll get a kick out of us. I'll send him the link when we put this one out, because he'll get it. But he's got a site called the NDN All Stars. NDN meaning, quickly you say it, Indian All
Yeah, yeah,
Stars. And I learned a bunch of things from him. Like I didn't realize that Jim Plunkett and Johnny Bench were both Native American. So, but it's for Native Americans, they're trying to find people that are like them and from their heritage that are sports stars. It's really, really cool project he's got going on there. So I
yeah,
learned a lot. It's kind of
yeah.
neat.
I wasn't aware of Bench. I didn't know about Plunkett, but
Yeah.
yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so excellent job on that story. So Tim, you have more than just a factoid feast in your tidbits. You have you talk just about anything in football history. Maybe you could share with folks how they can enjoy your tidbits.
Yeah, just go out to footballarchaeology.com, subscribe, and if you do that, then you'll get an email every time I release a new story. You'll get an email with the story embedded in that email. Um, you know, so that's the best way to do it. And then alternatively, you can follow me on the threads, or on threads on Twitter, uh, the um, or the Substack app. Substack app actually has some pretty cool features now. So, that's worth taking a look at if you read my stuff and or other Substack you
Yeah,
know threads.
mo- most definitely. They communicate very well, and sometimes you get an email with everybody you follow on Substack, or a lot of times just what Tim's got coming out too. So it's a great device to get information. So Tim, we really thank you for joining us and sharing this football history with us, and we'll love to talk to you again next week.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thank you.